Today we have the brand new Grand Highlander Hybrid Max Platinum, which isn't just a stretched out, elongated Highlander. It's a whole different car, and even for the size, it's not a V8 or a V6. It's actually a 4-cylinder engine. Let's figure out how good it actually is, because 10 years ago, it'd be crazy to think a tiny 4-banger could power this huge Grand Highlander SUV. Okay, under the hood, we have a few different engine choices in the Grand Highlander. To begin with, you get the 2.4-liter turbocharged inline-4 non-hybrid. That makes 265 horsepower. And level up from that, you'll get the 2.5-liter hybrid non-turbo engine, which makes 245 horsepower. And then you have this flagship top-of-the-line engine, which combines both the turbocharger and a single electric motor and a battery sandwiched between the engine and transmission, which has a 6-speed automatic instead of the 8-speed that you get from the base 2.4-liter turbo. It makes 362 horsepower and a whopping 400 pound-feet of torque, which is crazy for such a small motor. On the hybrid, all-wheel drive is standard because there's a second motor in the rear. And the power on this actually tops the 5.7-liter Hemi engine that you'd find in the Jeep Grand Cherokee. All right, into this corner. Understeer, okay. Not that bad. We're gonna come to a full stop here and do a 0-60 run. Put it in sport mode, cool animations from the dashboard, brake boost, and a little bit of wheel spin. Oh my god, it's actually pretty quick. It gets to 60 miles per hour in 5.6 seconds, which is no slouch for a 4,900 pound vehicle. Even the other engines would get a pretty good time for a 4-cylinder. Let's roll at 35 miles per hour and see how fast this reacts. Okay. 6 speed's actually faster than you'd think. When you're just rolling or just gently on the gas, the engine will deactivate. Let's put in eco mode real quick. Oh yeah, you do get a drive mode controller. You have normal, eco, sport, and you have a few different off-road modes like mud and sand, rock, and snow. But yeah, when you're coasting, the engine is completely off, and it's also really quiet because we do get double pane windows in here. The transition between EV mode and the engine kicking on is almost unnoticeable unless you're really paying attention to the sound of the engine or the little EV logo that pops up in the corner. But other than that, the transition is super seamless. You won't notice it at all, especially if you're listening to music or not paying attention to the little EV logo. The fuel economy rating is 27 miles per gallon combined, which is really impressive for the power and weight of this vehicle. That's 10 miles per gallon better than the Jeep Cherokee, which is about the same size and a lot slower. For our Sleepy Garage 70 mile per hour fuel economy test, we were able to achieve 32.5 miles per gallon on the highway. All-wheel drive is standard in all the models in Canada, while in the US, it's a $2,000 option for the non-hybrid, and it's standard in all the hybrids. The Grand Highlander cuts a pretty willing arc through the corner, though the steering is not that responsive. It is somewhat light, which I don't really like, and it's not as sharp as something like the CX-90, but it's pretty decent. The suspension makes up for it because it's set up just perfectly. It's not too soft where it's floaty, and it's not too stiff where it's uncomfortable. And with these 20 inches that we have on today, it does ride on the stiffer side, but I think it's still pretty good. And with that suspension setup, it feels like a smaller vehicle. It is a very big SUV, and it feels like you're driving like a RAV4 size SUV. Unshockingly though, it pretty much drives like a bigger Highlander. In terms of safety systems, we have Toyota Safety Sense 3.0, which comes with pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, lane departure alert with steering assist, blind spot monitors, front and rear cross traffic alert systems, traffic sign recognition, which displays your speed limit or like stop signs and roadwork sign on your heads-up display and your dashboard. And you also have automatic high beams and radar cruise control with lane keep assist. And the radar cruise control works really well on the Grand Highlander. You do get traffic jam assistance, which uses a camera to make sure that you're actually looking at the road, because you can just not touch it. You also have lane change assistance. So when you just tap the signal, you can actually let go of the wheel for a little bit and it'll just guide you into the other lane. But yeah, it's a great system, really no complaints about it. You also now get proactive drive, which is brand new for Toyota. I've used it on some Lexus before. It basically just gently modulates your braking or your steering, especially when there's like a vehicle around you or a pedestrian or a bicycle. It just slows you down, or like when you're coming up to a curve, it will slow you down. But it's mostly used to keep a safe distance between you and the preceding car. It is a little bit intrusive at times, but it makes it really safe. Out of the corner, and yeah, this is fast. Downshift, downshift, downshift. Oh, okay, no more downshifts. Send. You can even hear the turbo wishing, which is pretty cool for a big soccer mom SUV. Great visibility too. You do set a little bit higher than most other competitors. This is the lowest seating position that you can get it to go to, but you get really good visibility. The mirrors are nice and low, so you can kind of see right through them as well. And this is a great car, just the daily drive. On the exterior, the Grand Highlander is one good-looking three-row SUV. It does have a very boxy appearance, which I do like. There are 20-inch chrome wheels on this platinum trim. You can get it with 18-inch or black wheels, and it does look pretty damn good on this SUV. This Grand Highlander is also finished in a storm cloud color. It suits this SUV very well. The rear end again has a fairly squared look. I love the C-shaped taillights, and you do actually get exhaust tips on this car. The Grand Highlander isn't nearly as fancy and nice as the Mazda, but it is more practical in here. You get a lot more space. You got a center console that's way bigger, and you have this little tray here. You got more space here. You even have a little cubby for your phone, wireless charging. You got the brand new Toyota Lexus shifter, which is interesting. You have brake hold, you have your drive modes down here, and then you have a USB-C port here, a USB-C port here, and a USB-C port there as well. You got your 360 camera view here with a bunch of different views that you can go through on this 12.3-inch infotainment system, which is actually a lot easier to use than the Mazda one. You can only use the touch screen to control it. You get your digital mirror, which is a nice feature, and you have another 12.3-inch digital dashboard. You can change a lot of the views. You can have different styles. You can even see your EV ratio, your charging. You have your energy monitor. You have your all-wheel drive, torque ratio, and you have a bunch of different things that you can change in here. Of course, you do have a heads-up display. You got JBL speakers, pretty decent finishes in here. You got this triangle looking pattern thing, which is interesting. Memory seating, and the heated steering wheel heats the entire wheel in here. Heated and ventilated seats, of course, and of course, the big panoramic sunroof. All right, hopping into the second row, of course, nice and big opening. There is so much space back here. You don't get the full-size center console here. Instead, you get this removable center bin. Of course, you can get this configured in a 6, 7, or 8-seater. You get heated and ventilated seats back here, as well as your own climate control. You have your AC 120-volt outlet, as well as a USB-C port for each seat. And there's just so much space back here. Of course, you're going to notice that 2-inch height difference with the headroom. And the panoramic sunroof back here is bigger as well. Also, you get your sunshades back here. And then when you hop into the third row, You can hop through the side or the middle. There is also more space back here. You can recline the seat. Now you have so much more space back here. You also get a USB-C port for each outboard seat. And the seating is kind of like a theater seating style where you're a bit higher than the rest of the car, but you still see outside the front windshield. And you also have massive third row windows back here. And again, just a lot more space. Onto the Grand Highlander, you do get quite a bit more space. You have 21 cubic feet behind the third row. And you also don't have a spare tire. Actually, you might have a compact spare tire underneath here. That's what it says for temporary use. You also get a AC 120 outlet, as well as your JBL sub back here. No lights here. You get one tiny little light here, which at nighttime isn't really that great. When you do fold down the third row and the Grand Highlander, you now have 58 cubic feet of space. With the new Grand Highlander, it kind of fills the void between the regular Highlander, which is a bit outdated now, and the significantly more expensive and bigger Sequoia. In this overly competitive market, it now has what it takes to go up against other long-haul three-row SUVs, such as the new Honda Pilot, the Hyundai Palisade, and more. It's got the right blend of practicality, fuel efficiency, power, and an abundance of tech and safety, and it will for sure win over new buyers who bypass the Highlander because it quite literally didn't measure up. That's all, guys. Thanks for watching. If you want to see a comparison between this and the Mazda CX-90, well, you can watch that right here. Welcome to the most epic showdown. Well, as epic as you could possibly get between two three-row soccer mom or soccer dad SUVs.